Hi, I'm Noelle.
And I'm Marissa, but Noelle calls me Pete. And welcome back to
Take It Home.
Woo!
Okay, what are we drinking today?
We are drinking.
Actually, I should answer that
You
question
should.
because I'm the one who bought it. Red wine. But here are the specifics. Well, first of all, I went to my place, Grain and Vine in Brooklyn, shout out. And I walked in and I said, I'm looking for wine that will give me fall vibes. So they pointed me to this Pinot Noir from Oregon. If you're looking on the video, you can kind of see it. There's a picture of like the mountains on
It's
there.
pretty.
And yeah, normally I just choose a bottle of wine by its cover.
Eola-Amity Hills.
Eola-Amity Hills, 2024 Pinot Noir, grown, produced, and bottled by Evening Land Vineyards in Salem, Oregon. All right, let's give this a sip, ladies and gents.
Okie dokie.
Cheers.
Ooh,
Yeah, I like that.
I do too. I love a red wine. I haven't had a glass of wine in so long.
Honestly, same. Actually, I had one last night, but before that, I really am feeling like I need a glass of wine right now. I don't
Mhm.
really love drinking. I haven't been loving drinking recently.
I haven't either.
Is that just part of getting old?
I guess. Yeah. I mean, see, I love having a drink for the
Yes.
taste of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I never do that really anymore. I mean, I will when I go out to eat
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, but I don't know. I guess it's just
I'm really feeling like I want this today, though.
Mhm.
Today has not been the best day.
You haven't had the best day.
I haven't had the best day, you guys. But you know what? That's okay. We're still going to say what makes us smile. And
that's why we do this.
That's why we do that. Because sometimes if you're going through a hard time, it helps you to see the positive. So
Great segue.
yeah, actually that was a great segue.
Genius.
My thing that made me smile today is I got my Chipotle for free. It was so nice. I went in there and the guy behind the counter was just being so freaking nice to me. He was just asking me all these questions about my day and my life. He told me to tell him 8 things that made me smile, but I only got to see the first one because I was like, I got free pastries earlier. Wow, I get a lot of free stuff.
You do. You're always getting free food.
Free food and free clothes and shoes and makeup.
True. How could I forget?
Yeah,
that.
Kind of a talent of mine. But anyway, so I was like, one of my 8 things that is making me happy right now is I got free pastries. And then he was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, do you guys want them? And he was like, if you give me those pastries, I'll give you your Chipotle half off. And I was like, okay. So I gave them to him. And then they were ringing me up for half off. But then the register wasn't working. And they were just like, you can just take it. And I was like, okay. So I got my free Chipotle. Woo!
That is such a sleigh.
It really was, especially because I really didn't feel like spending the money, but it was just after work and I was exhausted and I was like, I do not have the energy to go to the grocery store and cook food. I just need Chipotle.
Sometimes you gotta just do that.
Yeah.
I think I got Chipotle the other day too.
Yeah. It's so good.
I mean, today for dinner, I literally had a box of mac and cheese.
Zoodles.
So I felt the same. I was like, but I did make banana bread today. So
and it's so good. Pumpkin banana bread.
Yes, pumpkin banana bread. That was my cooking for the day.
Yeah.
I had these bananas. 3, they were looking like they were turning black. And
They
I
were
was
scary.
I was like, I really don't want to look at these anymore, but I could make banana bread instead of throwing them away. So I did.
Have you seen that meme that's like the 3 bananas that are literally just like black peels and they look so scary?
No.
But it's like time to make banana bread. But it's like a joke because they're like so scary looking.
I was actually kind of grossed out when I was peeling them.
I
was
bet.
but the banana bread came out great. I feel like the more ripe they are, the
I just choked on my wine. I'm okay.
The more ripe they are and more gross and turning black they are, the more like sweet and moist your bread will be.
So here's my question. How do you know when a banana is too ripe? Do you know what I mean? Like, can't they get like
Rotten?
Yeah.
Probably.
Like, when do they get to that? Because honestly, the bananas that have been sitting out there were looking scary.
Yeah. I mean, they were like brown, mushy, but they weren't
unusable.
Like bananas
obviously.
they're fine for a while.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, what was your thing that made you smile?
Okay, my thing was actually something that happened to me today as well. It was just something I witnessed that was really cute. I went to get my nails done, which was not my smile, but it happened in the nail salon. I was sitting next to this man who was getting his nails done, and we were so close in proximity, I could like hear everything he was, saying to the woman who was doing his nails. And he was like, I really like your bracelet. She was wearing this like beaded bracelet, like this big red, like burgundy beaded bracelet. It was pretty. And she was like, oh, this one? And he was like, yeah, it's really nice. Like, whatever. And she literally took it off and was like, for you.
Wait, what?
And he was like, wait, what? He was like, that's so nice. And that just like made me
for
smile.
you. Wait, that's so sweet.
Yeah, he said, I like your bracelet. And she was like, have it.
For you.
And it made me smile because I thought it was just super sweet. And then also just, I think it's admirable how unattached this woman was to her material, her material belongings. Like, I don't know. Jewelry to me is one of those, it's very sentimental. But, at the end of the day, it's just a piece of metal or whatever it is.
Was it a nice bracelet?
It didn't look like a bracelet of high monetary value, but it was like beads, maybe like crystal beads, like some red beaded, like on a wire bracelet, but they were like big beads, and it had like maybe a couple charms on it or something.
Oh, cute.
And she was like, oh yeah, she also said, it's for good luck.
Oh.
It's a good luck bracelet.
Wait,
so I just thought that was sweet.
That
and then
is really
also,
sweet.
it's so cool that this woman was just like, I don't care about this bracelet enough to like, she had no like attachment to it, which is really cool.
That's so cute. That's a good smile.
I know. It was really, I liked that. And that was my smile.
Oh, smiley, smiley.
All right. Time to get into our topic of the day. Staying on our spooky theme for October, you guys. This episode has been a long time coming. We've been waiting for the perfect time to make it because boy, oh boy, do we have some stories for you.
And our topic is ghosting.
Yes.
So,
scary.
Is ghosting, I feel like, is a newer term, right?
Newer within the past, I would say maybe like 5-ish years.
So if any of our listeners don't know what that means, which
that also might not be true.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I feel like it's become more of a thing, like with social media and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's just when you essentially stop talking to someone out of the blue.
Like literally, it's as if you died.
It is as if you died.
But you're still alive. And we have a couple people like that in our lives. We're each going to be sharing one story from our ghosting.
Before we go into it, I just remembered this funny story that happened a long time ago. Not like 2 years ago. I was sitting in a cafe with a friend who I hadn't seen in a while, and we were just sitting there talking. And I think he was talking to me about how someone ghosted him. Or I was talking about being ghosted. I don't know. Someone was talking about being ghosted, and someone at the table next to us just looks over at us and said, maybe he died. And I was like, so true. And he was like, anytime someone ghosts me, I just say, maybe he died. So I like to say that now when people ghost, I'm like, maybe they died.
No, but that's like genuinely like how would you know?
That way.
Yeah, it does feel that way.
Do you want to share your story first because it's insane?
Sure. Okay. Also, ghosting, we were talking about how there's like different levels of ghosting. Like, you may go on a date with someone from a dating app and then they keep messaging you and you ghost because you're not interested, but you didn't really know the person. That's not the kind of ghosting we're talking about today. Do I think ghosting on any level is great? No. I think like it's always best to just communicate and be transparent, even if it's someone that you met once. Like, why not just, unless you're getting like harassed or something.
Yeah.
But like, just be honest. I think everyone deserves some sort of explanation.
Mm-hmm.
But the ghosting we're talking about today, it's people that we knew very well, people that were our close friends, or people we dated for a significant amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll start and tell my story.
Crazy town.
Okay. I haven't even thought about this, so I gotta recount all the details. So back a couple years ago, it's going on 3 years, so 2.5 years ago, I matched with this guy on a dating app, and he looked really cute and cool, and he sent me a rose to show me that he was super interested.
I didn't know he sent you a rose, I don't think.
Yeah, he sent me a rose on Hinge. I can't remember if he sent me a message first or, well, I know that he messaged me first, but So I think he sent me a rose and liked one of my photos without sending me any message. And then I matched with him, and then he eventually, oh man, I wish I still had these messages. I actually probably have our texts. I can go back and read them word for word, but I don't have our Hinge messages anymore because I unmatched him. But so he messages me and is like, "Hey, Marissa," and then eventually was like, "I would love to take you on a date. When are you free?" And in the beginning, he was doing everything right. When I match with someone on a dating app, I don't like to talk too long on the app. I
don't either.
I like to, the point of me being on there is I want to meet people in person. I want to go on dates. I'm trying to find, my person.
Not just chit chat for a month.
I don't want to chit chat on the app when I don't know you. I don't have any investment in, So I always find it to be a red flag when a man just keeps trying, chatting with you, sending you messages, but doesn't actually take the initiative to follow through on a date. But this man, he did. We very quickly planned a date. It was great. We didn't talk too much before, and the date was for the next week or something. He followed up with me a couple times leading up to it, and
we love that.
I love that. Literally, this man did every single thing right up until the point he ghosted me. He sent me follow-up messages hey, making sure we're still good for Thursday. And then he messaged me day of, making sure, told me to be here. He picked the place, he picked the time, blah, blah, blah. So we showed up to the date. We had a 7-hour long date. We just hit it off.
Low-key, I forgot all of these details, so I feel like I'm listening to this again for the first time.
I know. I kind of forgot too because I haven't thought about this in a while. So I'm recalling this as we go. But
wow.
So we meet at this really cute cocktail bar, and we just connect instantly. We have so many drinks. We were drinking these gin drinks, and I remember he was like, "Which one do you think you're gonna get?" And I was like, "I'm between this one and this one. They both sound really good." He's like, "I'll get one, you get the other, and then you can try both."
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I hate that he did everything right because this man is.
That's so hot.
No, I know.
But he ruined it.
He ruined it so bad.
Some people say some guys are really good about doing everything right.
Apparently.
And then
I will never know.
Not genuine.
And we'll never know what happened. But
anyways.
Yeah, so I was like, okay. So we, kind of shared drinks. Not shared, but we tried each other's drinks, and we shared a couple, a cheese plate or something, and our conversation was just flowing. We connected instantly. We sat there for hours, had 4 drinks at that bar. I drank way too much that night. And then he was like, "There's a speakeasy that my friend works at that it's in the area. Would you want to go?" So I was like, "Yeah." We went to the speakeasy. We got more drinks. Just hung out for hours. Okay. And then he Ubers me home.
Hot.
I heard from him shortly after, the next day he followed up. What was our second date? Okay, so I think the second time we met up, it was a little impromptu. We did have a date planned, but then it just so happened that he was out in the area that I was in one night, and he messaged me. He was like, "Hey, is there any chance you'd want to grab a drink? And I was like, yeah. I mean, I really was like into him. So,
which isn't very common.
no, this never happens to me, you guys. Like, when I connect with someone, it's like that. It's kind of rare. So I was very excited about it. And so we go on a second date just at this bar, another bar, like a cocktail bar, sit and talk for hours. So for our third date, he was like, are you free on this day? Like, he took it upon himself to like plan a date. He was like, I have a surprise, but I just wanted to make sure you're free. And I was like, yep, I'm free. And he was like, okay, meet me like here after work. And it ended up being a Broadway show. He got us tickets to a Broadway show. I, wasn't expecting that because obviously he knew I loved Broadway and was pursuing theater and whatnot. And it's just very cute. Like, we watched the show together. I think we like held hands. I know during intermission, I went to the bathroom and I came out and he was waiting for me with the Kit Kat bar because
that's so cute.
He knew that was my favorite candy and he got one from the concessions. And I was like, that's so sweet. And we, watched the rest of the show, ate the Kit Kat. I obviously shared it with him. And then we went to dinner after that. I took him to a place like I had been with my family that I really liked that was around the corner. We went out again where we went to this really nice, like during the day, this really nice, like farm to table tasting menu restaurant where we like did a tasting menu. And this is when we were really starting to like open up with each other, talking about like what we want out of our future. Like, I remember, not being like, it never felt like love bombing or like rushing into anything. Like, it was just like conversations, like, are we compatible? And everything just turned out to be like, yes, we were. Like, and so we had like a great time. We went to the Brooklyn Museum and walked around there, and like I almost met his friends that night, but I didn't. I'm just trying to like paint a picture of like how well it was going. Mm-hmm. We went on a couple more dates after that. Like,
are you going to talk about Valentine's Day?
Yes, I'm getting to Valentine's Day.
Okay, sorry.
So we're dating at this point, right? Let's say I know I had been on like 10 dates total with him before he ghosted me. And sleepovers were involved. Like, we were dating. Okay. Then Valentine's Day rolls around and, it's kind of weird when you're newly dating someone and a Valentine's Day happens. It's like, we weren't going to spend it together because we weren't at that point yet, but he did ask me if I wanted to like meet up after whatever plans we had, because I had plans to get dinner with you, like, and our friends, and then he had some plans or whatever. And I was like, yeah, well, do you want to come meet my friends? My friends and I are going to dinner and we're going out to this bar. Like, do you want to meet us after? Which is a huge deal. And, when you're dating someone, like finally meeting their friends. Yeah. So he was like, yes. And he ended up coming to meet us, and he brought me a rose, and just, we hung out all night and blah, 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 blah. You know how it goes. I'm going to tell the story of our last date now, but I hope I've painted the picture so far of like, they
were dating.
We were dating.
And he brought you a rose on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. How well everything was going, how just like compatible it felt like we were, and we were getting pretty close. Our last date, which I didn't know was going to be our last date, was a place I really wanted to take him to. I was like, there's this jazz bar that I love going to near my apartment. And I would talk about it. And I was like, why don't we go? So he met me after work at my apartment one night, and we walked over together and we like watched the jazz and got food and ate whatever. We came back here and we watched a movie. So random. We got Taco Bell and watched Tangled.
Do you remember coming home and y'all were sitting there watching Tangled, and I was like, hey guys.
Yeah, so we watched Tangled, and that detail, the detail of us watching a movie comes back around. So he sleeps over. We wake up and he leaves, and like everything is totally normal. The next day, I'm like out and about. I have like the day off, and he FaceTimes me, but I'm like on the train. So I couldn't answer it, but I was like, hey, I'm on the train. Like, I can't talk right now, but like, I can call you later or whatever. And he was like, hey, I just wanted to see like how your day was going. And then I just like stopped hearing from him after that.
So weird.
And I was like, okay. Like, of course I was getting a little anxious because I was like really starting to like this guy. I was starting to feel confident too and like secure, like that it was going in this direction. And I never would have thought what was coming next was going to happen. But I'm like going to our texts. I said, hi, I'm on the subway. He said, okay, I was just calling to see how you're doing. I said, I'm good. How are you? And okay, so I'm going to paint the picture with the dates. That was February 18th. I said, I'm good. How are you? I don't hear from him for a couple days. So February 21st, after he FaceTimed me, I couldn't answer. And he was like, just calling to see how you're doing. And I was like, I'm good. How are you? No response. February 21st, I said, everything okay? This is so crazy.
Oh my God.
Then he responded and said, yeah, for the most part, just dealing with some unexpected personal stuff. How are you? How was your weekend? So I replied a couple hours later. I said, it was fine, pretty chill. Hope you're okay. Then he said, a friend of mine passed away, so I'll probably be a little to myself for a few days. And I said, I'm so sorry. If you need anything, I'm here. Obviously, like, that's horrible. And this was like a crazy detail to this story. I never knew what happened to this day. But so I really, really gave him his space. So that was February 21st. I said, I'm so sorry. If you need anything, I'm here. February 24th, I text him because I haven't heard from him because he wanted his space. I said, hi, just wanted you to know I've been thinking about you and I hope you're doing all right. He said, been thinking about you too, actually. And thank you. Actually was just thinking of you 30 minutes ago, which is weird because that's when you texted me. How are you? What's going on with this weekend? So seems like normal. Seems like he's still into it, whatever. But, you know, I don't know. I said, I'm just fine. Nothing too new and exciting. I have a few auditions to film this weekend. Supposed to go out for my friend's birthday. Blah, 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 blah. Basically, I'm just like catching him up on my life. He responds like hours later, says, busy, busy weekend. How did the show this past week go?
But it hadn't happened yet. Right?
Yeah, yes. And I said, I didn't have a show this week. I have one at the end of March 21st. He said, okay, added to calendar. Oh my God. Okay. So I also forgot this story. The night that we went to the jazz bar, he told me that because he used to travel a lot for work. So he told me that he was going to be gone for like most of March or most of February. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of weird because we're like newly dating. But I wasn't really worried about it. I was just like, I feel like we'll still talk. And I feel like it'll be telling of how this will go.
Exactly.
I knew he was leaving. And then he also got really, really weird and distant because his friend passed away or whatever. So we're texting now when he's like gone into like London or something. And so I tell him that my show's at the end of March. And he said, okay, added to calendar. And I said, I thought you were gone all month. He says, I get back that week, actually. And maybe for a weekend, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, we never finished Tangled. And I said, no, we didn't. We didn't get very far into the movie. He said, well, we got to finish it. Feels like a sin not to. That's the last I ever heard from this man. So mind you, this is the end of February. My birthday's early March. So because I did respond to that. I said something like, yes, we have to finish it. Then he just like never responded. My birthday was coming up and he knew when my birthday was. He also followed me on Instagram. So he was seeing all my stories. And I'm thinking, am I going to hear from him on my birthday? Because I haven't heard from him in days, in like a couple weeks. But he said he's coming to my show, like acting like he has intention to see me in the future. So I'm like, what's going on? So my birthday rolls around and I don't hear from him, but he's watching every single one of my stories.
Every single like birthday post.
Yeah, so he fully knows it's my birthday. He's watching my stories. I haven't heard from him in 2 weeks. He knows I can see that he's watching my stories. So that just like spoke volumes to me. I didn't want to be thinking about that on my birthday, but I didn't talk about it all day. And then I remember at the end of the night when we were literally going to bed after, I had a wonderful day with my friends.
What did we do again?
We went to that board game cafe, but then we went to Birds of a Feather, and like so many people came to dinner for me.
That was
and it was just like a great day, but that was hanging over my head all day. I'm like, this man I was dating just disappeared, and he didn't wish me happy birthday. He knows it's my birthday. He's watching all my stories. A man really knows how to ruin a fucking birthday. It happened to me 2 years in a row.
It happened to me that you and I both had our birthdays ruined.
Mm-hmm.
Birthdays are such a thing when you're dating someone for some reason.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's so hard when you're like, when you start to date someone and their birthday's like, or your birthday's coming up or their birthday's coming up, it makes me anxious because 2 years in a row I had boys I like who didn't wish me a happy birthday. And it just like made me really sad.
It's
But
so
I remember talking to you at the end of the night and being like, I didn't want to bring this up today, but like, I'm really sad that he never reached out and wished me happy birthday. He watched all my stories, like, and I cried. My birthday.
Yep, I
And
remember
then
that.
Because that happened, I mean, that spoke volumes to me. And I was like, something's off.
I remember telling people separately, like I think the people we went to the board game cafe with, like maybe Michaela, I was like, no one talk about what's his name. I was like, he hasn't texted Pete happy birthday or just something. I was like, he hasn't been talking to Pete. Like, don't be like, how's that going? I was like, no one ask about him.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Because like I was able to get through my day and have a good birthday, but I just had to like let it out at the end of the night and be like, damn. I mean, because as the day went on, I was like, there's still hope. Maybe he'll text me. And then, of course, it's like 10 p.m. and I'm like, I guess I'm not hearing from him. So I texted him the next day. Oh, yeah. Okay. So when he said that we have to finish the movie, I followed up with a question, too. I said, we shall finish the movie. I said, when do you leave? Then he just never responded. So the day after my birthday, I said, hi, I hope you're doing okay with everything that you've been going through. If you could spare me a moment, I'd like to know where your head is at. To be honest, I've been feeling confused and I don't really want to continue waiting and guessing how you're feeling when I can just be straight up with you. And hopefully you can be honest with me. I know you're dealing with a lot and you're traveling. So I'm giving him so much fucking grace. So I've been giving you some space, but I do feel like I was left in the dark. Would just like to know what's going on. And he never responded. And I feel like I handed it to him on a silver platter. Like
He could have so just like been like, hey, actually, like I'm going through a lot right now and I think I don't want to see you.
Yeah. So simple. And he just decided to ghost. And I was like so heartbroken. Yeah, I just did not see that coming.
I feel like you're missing a big piece too.
Oh, I know. It's coming up.
Okay.
So at the point where I decided, okay, I guess this is done. He ghosted me. I can't ever be with someone like that anyway. So yeah, I, was really upset. But key detail, I left earrings of mine that were given to me by my grandmother that I really liked at his apartment. And I was like, well, fuck. Like, now I'm not dating him anymore. And I, at the very least, like, want my earrings back. So after I sent that message of being like, hey, can you be straight up with me? And he couldn't give me the decency. I texted him weeks later. And I said, hi, not ideal, but I left my earrings in your room last month. They were my grandma's, so I would really like them back. If you could drop them off at my door or mail them, I'd appreciate it. No response.
Actually, that ironically wasn't even the big detail.
Oh, really?
The detail I'm thinking of is when he was traveling for work, he changed his Hinge location to London and was posting all these videos of himself clubbing. After he had ghosted you.
That.
I feel like that's important to note too, because it's like if he had a friend pass away, that's awful. And I give him grace for that.
Yeah. And I gave him so much grace and space. Like I totally understood. And I was like, don't worry. Like, I'm here if you need me. But yeah, I guess like he was active in other places and like he was looking at all my stuff. As he was ghosting me too.
Him posting all these clubbing videos in London while he wasn't texting you back and not wishing you a happy birthday and changing his Hinge look.
I forgot about that.
That's crazy work.
Yeah.
Buddy. That's crazy. My heart and soul genuinely hurt for Pete during that time. Like, there is nothing worse than a man ruining your birthday. Being sad about a boy on your birthday is something that is never happening to either of us again.
Hell no.
Because from now on, we are only going to be interested in guys who make us feel special and loved on our birthdays.
Yep.
Yeah, that year we both cried on our birthdays. It was awful. Oh my God. But also my heart aches just for the time when he wasn't texting you and you were like that is the worst feeling ever when you like a guy and you're just, oh my God, when they start getting wishy-washy and you just don't hear, like everything's going really well and then suddenly you just don't hear from them for a couple of days. That was the story of my life for years. It's awful.
I can't stress enough like how perfect everything was until just suddenly it wasn't. And it is psychological torture being ghosted, because when you're ghosted, you don't fully know that you're being ghosted until you look back and you're like, oh, he ghosted, because you're like, maybe he'll still respond. Maybe he'll still respond. Maybe he'll still respond. It's like, it's just a never ending loop of like, you have no closure from them and you don't know if you're going to get it. Like you could or you couldn't.
You don't normally.
And like
you have to get it from
cases,
within.
You really don't. You just have to give it to yourself. But yeah, that was a horrible time. He never responded about my grandma's earrings. And also, the other crazy part is like, I didn't remove him as a follower on Instagram for like a minute after I sent him that text being like, hey, just be straight up with me. And he didn't respond. He was still looking at my stuff. I don't know what would have happened, but I ended up removing him. Like I unfollowed him. Yeah, because
you don't need to see him viewing all of your stuff.
Yeah, and I don't want to be looking for it. But also it's just like, if I had never done that, would you have just like, it was so weird. And I just will never understand.
Wait, wasn't your thing that made you smile a few weeks ago that he viewed your story? Or was that you mentioned it on the pod?
It wasn't my thing that made me smile, but I did mention it when we were talking about like avoidant men. And so this is the guy who, if you listen to that episode about, I don't remember which one it was, maybe self-care. I did not hear from him ever again. And, you know, a lot of times people who ghost or are weird like that, like, do end up entering your life again in some way, selfishly. But he just like never did. And I was always kind of surprised by that. I was like, wow, he just never reached out again. And we had such a great like 2 months of like dating. And I really thought it could have gone somewhere. And I know he felt it too. And
so weird.
But then he did just like a couple months ago view my story.
And he doesn't follow you. He hasn't followed you in years.
He doesn't follow me. This was 2.5 years after we, ended. And he randomly viewed my story, which is just crazy. And that was the only time, as far as I don't always look through all of my story viewers all the time. So I don't know. But
was he like towards the top?
No. For some reason, this is so weird because I never scroll like all the way to the bottom of my story viewers. But I was just like dilly-dallying on my phone and I just happened to like scroll down and see it. And I'm so happy I did because like,
dude,
that's something I want to know if he's looking at my story.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, he looked at my story and then I still never heard from him.
They never go away.
But like, I healed from that. Obviously, it's been a couple years.
It took a while for you to heal.
Hell yeah. Like it took me a long time. I think, that all happened in March and I don't remember feeling better until like end of July, early August. And, I had only known him for a couple months. Yeah, that's my crazy ghosting story.
And he's not dead because we saw him posting and he just viewed your story. Unless he died and somebody else has access to his Instagram account.
You never know.
And I saw him on Hinge.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh my God.
A year, this was like last fall, or was it two falls ago? I don't know.
I don't remember, but I saw him on Hinge. So of course I liked him. Well, okay, not in a way where I was actually interested, but the only way to send someone a message is by liking them. So I liked him and sent this message that was just like, hey, asshole. Wait, actually, I wonder if I can find it.
You definitely have a screenshot. You definitely have a screenshot somewhere. You asked me if it was okay. You were like, can I send him a message?
Oh my God. Everyone listening is about to think I'm crazy. Okay, I said, hi, what's your name? You ghosted my best friend when you... This is so cringy. I said, hi, you ghosted my best friend when you could have just told her you weren't interested. Thanks to you, she isn't Ew, oh my God, wait, I'm like cringing at myself. Thanks to you, she isn't wasting her time dating a boy with zero communication skills. Send her grandma's earrings to our address. Middle finger emoji.
Dude, I'm like, he definitely had my earrings. I'm like, what?
That
what?
sucks. Your grandma's earrings, dude. That sucks.
What did he do with them?
Probably like gave them to another girl as a gift.
God.
One day you're gonna like be walking down the street and see someone wearing your grandma's earrings.
Oh, I've thought about that because they're like very unique, like definitely one of a kind. Yeah, I just don't know what happened. Like, and I don't understand ghosters because I feel like I'm so far away. Like the way I would react in any situation where I got overwhelmed or had complicated feelings or whatever, it would never be ghosting. Like I just can't understand it. So it's very,
because it's so mean.
Yeah. I mean, it's so mean and like disrespectful to the other person, but it's also like that would bother me. It's like if you're someone that I care about, like I don't want to not ever talk to you again. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like
sometimes you have to have the hard conversations. That's what actually like strengthens a relationship.
That's
why
life.
Some people don't want their relationships to be strengthened, I suppose.
Yeah.
Glad you're feeling better now.
Oh my God.
About
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I definitely don't feel anything towards him anymore, clearly, because it's been a long time. But that stuff sticks with you though. Like your body remembers that abandonment and that like betrayal almost. Like
I'm tired of everyone.
Yeah.
Like our bodies remember everything. It's like so annoying. It's like every time someone hurts you, you just keep that with you.
Yeah. Whether you know it or not, like it's all there. And I've had things happen since that have brought up those feelings.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but you know, no one gets through life unscathed.
No.
And
they don't.
Hurt people hurt people. It's like people who are avoidant and don't know how to, you know, deal with their emotions. It's because they weren't taught or they were hurt in their past or, you know, they have traumas of their own. So like it helps a little bit to look at it with that like level of compassion to be like,
yeah,
everyone's just on this earth trying to do their best and whatnot. But I really do think like it is our job to acknowledge our traumas and our difficult emotions so that we don't do that to other people.
Yeah.
Because it's just like a vicious cycle of like passing it from, you know, one to another. And it's like at some point someone has to break the cycle and like heal from their trauma so they don't like pass it on to someone else. And a lot of people just don't do that. And that's why people hurt people.
Yep. And that's why hurt people hurt people.
Yeah. Anyway,
well,
that's my crazy story of being ghosted by someone I dated for like 2 months.
That was crazy. That was a crazy time and a really bad and sad time.
Sure was.
Shall I tell my ghosting story?
You shall.
Mine's a little different. Mine is actually very different because mine wasn't from someone I was dating. I was ghosted by one of my best friends, which is someone who like, we still have mutual friends and stuff. It's kind of crazy to be ghosted by someone you have mutual friends with. I guess I'll just get into it. I was ghosted by one of my best friends in college from Elon. He was in the year below me at Elon and we were just besties. We studied abroad in Florence together and that's when we became really close friends. And yeah, like we would always hang out, whatever. Point is, we were besties. I was always hanging out with him. And then, oh my God, when did he ghost me? I feel like it was this one time I asked him at some point. It was like our senior year. We were all celebrating, graduating. And I asked him if he would drive us somewhere. And he said no and like was kind of offended that I didn't invite him to go out with us. But it was because we were going out with our class because we had just graduated and he still had a year left. So I was like, don't be offended that I'm asking you to DD us when we graduated today. Like, I don't know, just something weird. But I can't remember like when he exactly ghosted, but I think like he just kind of stopped responding. And then I was like, hey, like, do you want to hang out? No response. Hey, like, oh my God, now I'm remembering like when it actually kind of started happening. I was like, hey, like, I'm moving my stuff out of Elon. Like, I'd love to say bye to you. No response. Hey, like, if you want to say bye to me, like, tomorrow, like, today's your last chance. Like, I'm not going to the school anymore. No response. And I was trying to wrap my brain for so long about what could have happened.
It's also crazy because we were still in school.
Yeah.
So like,
and he lived in the apartment complex next to me.
So did you ever run into him?
No.
That's wild.
Somehow. But this was also COVID time, so it was a little weird. But I just remember trying to wrap my head around things because, apparently I did try to kiss him when I was drunk, which I later found out was maybe the reason why he ghosted me.
That is still no excuse to ghost you.
Which one is no excuse to ghost because it was very mutual.
Yeah.
We did not kiss that night. But it was very like he kept being like, should we? And I was kind of like, yeah. And then he would be like, no, we can't. We're best friends. It was like one of those things. It was kind of like, it was mutual. But then, which also like, look, that would have been a bad idea. But like, anyways,
clearly,
what didn't make sense to me was the very next day he texted me and was like, hey, want to go to Cookout tonight? For those of you who haven't lived in the South, Cookout is like the best fast food place ever. So we went and got Cookout that night, literally the night after that happened, and hung out all night, like no flirtiness or anything, but just like we always did. So that's the thing in my head for a long time. I was like, is it because we almost drunk kissed? But there's no way that could have been it because the day after that almost happened, we hung out and everything was normal. And then so for a while I was like, is he mad at me because I didn't invite him to go out with me and my friends after we had just graduated and we were celebrating graduating? Like, which also like, sorry, I didn't invite you. I think I had a pregame at my apartment or something. And so I invited all of our class and didn't invite him to it and asked him to DD. So then I was like, is he offended that I didn't invite him to my graduation party that was only with people who graduated? Like, I was trying to figure out so many things. I was like, what the fuck? Then I was like, it also can't be that we almost kissed because that was mutual. And like, like, I don't know. But then I remember eventually, like, I started texting him being like, hey, like, I'm really upset because, like, you are one of my best friends and we're not talking and you're not responding to me and you didn't say bye to me. No response. And then I texted him again being just like a long thing, just whatever. And then I remember the last text I ever sent him, I was like, just because I needed closure for myself, I was like, hey, like, if you don't want to talk about this, like, I'm just going to view this as like our friendship has ended, essentially. Like, I am happy to talk about whatever. Like, if I hurt your feelings, if I did something to hurt you, like, I'm sorry, but I care about our friendship. And if you want to be friends with me, like, I would like to talk about it and work through it. Never responded. Literally, he still hasn't talked to me to this day. And I was so not okay about it for a year. I remember because I was like, well, one, it was a big mystery too. It was like, one, I didn't understand why. Like, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, did I do something awful?
I remember you texting one of his friends about it and being like, the friend was kind of like, I don't remember who the friend was, but he was kind of like, not wanting to, disrespect Ghoster too much, but like was trying to be there for you too. And was like, apparently he had said she should know what she did or something like that.
Oh my God, I forgot about that part.
It was kind of confirmed that he was ghosting you because you did something that wrong or something that hurt him. Which is even more like psychologically just like tormenting because it's like, that's so unfair to you. You had no idea what you did.
Also, like, if it was because I tried to drunk kiss him, like that, the way he talked about it was like I did something like I'm like, did I do something literally terrible? Like, but I don't see myself doing something.
No, I mean, terrible.
If you can't think
of what it would be,
yeah,
then
she should know what she did. Anyways, I think it ended up being because we almost kissed when we were drunk, even though we hung out the next day. I mean, and then like 2 days later, he was upset that I didn't invite him to graduation. I don't know. It was just weird. It happened at a weird time. Like, if he would have ghosted me the day after we had almost drunk and kissed, I would be like, okay, that was why. But it wasn't the day after. We were friends for like a few days after that. And then it happened so randomly. So anyways,
so weird.
For so long, I was like, what the actual fuck? I was so upset. I was like, he was one of my besties. And I was like, what in the world is going on? Like, what? Why does he suddenly hate me? And I remember the day I got over it, it took a year. It took a little over a year. I went back to go visit Elon and I went to a party and I was like, I'm ready. Like, he's going to be there and I'm going to have to like it might make me really upset and I might leave crying this tonight from this party. And he was there and I had the opposite reaction. Everyone just was so nice to me there. Like, I remember everyone coming up to me being so excited I was visiting Elon again. Everyone, including all of his friends.
Yeah.
Which is the other, it's like,
well,
we had
mutual friends. Yeah.
All of his friends, everyone was like, oh my God, Noel's here. And I had such a fun night. And I remember him sitting at a table by himself. And that isn't, I don't wish that upon him.
Right.
But I was just kind of like, damn, I'm here dancing and everyone low-key really likes me. And you ghosted me a year ago and here you are just like what the fuck?
Did y'all acknowledge each other's presences?
No.
That is so crazy.
I did acknowledge his presence. I ran into him at a bar. Were you there?
No, but I remember this because I felt like there was some time when you all had like said hi or something.
I ran into him at a bar in New York City and I literally walked past him and I said, maybe it was before you were here. I walked past him and I said, oh, hey. And he was just like, he didn't even say anything. He just kind of awkwardly smiled.
That's crazy.
Apparently he did tell someone kind of recently. He was like, yeah, I fucked that one up. Like, or maybe I don't know. I have no idea what's going on with him. Luckily, I'm so over it now. I actually think about him maybe once every like 4 months, but not even in a sad way. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, he was one of my best
just
friends.
Like mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know. He also definitely kissed me before when we were drunk a couple of times, like before that time. Like he was like into me when he was drunk sometimes.
Maybe he really liked you or something, like had feelings. I don't know, because that's the only like way I can
What if
imagine.
He's listening to this and he's just like, that is not what it is. Hey, if you are, no hard feelings anymore. But that was a crazy move. I get it. Actually, I have ghosted someone before, but it was my old manager who I dated. But that was different because he was horrible. Like abusive and terrible.
That's in a situation where it's okay.
My therapist told me to ghost him.
Yeah. If you're being abused or harassed or like it's a bad situation and that's what you have to do. That's different. So
yeah.
You were also ghosted by your voice teacher.
Holy shit, I forgot I was ghosted by my voice teacher.
Also, every ghosting story is just so, it's so confusing. Like, what? I don't understand these people, like what's going on through these people's heads.
Y'all, I
going
was
on in these people's heads
by my voice teacher,
which is so weird.
So like I had a voice teacher in the city, a singing teacher, for those of you who are not vocalists. And I was with him for over a year and he really helped my voice. He was awesome. Loved him. We would schedule, honestly, I think what happened was like, honestly, I have sympathy for this right now because I'm kind of having a bad day because I feel like I haven't been a great friend recently and have been low-key ghosting people.
You're not really ghosting though.
Yeah, it's not like real.
Not texting back is not the same as ghosting. It's like,
that's true.
If someone were to text you and be like, hey, here's my feelings, you would respond.
Yeah, that's so true.
Sometimes you don't know you're upsetting someone when, if you're distant or you have a lot going on. It's like, it's not the same.
But, that's true. Yeah. But I do feel like my voice teacher at the time had a lot going on at one point. So his wife had just had a baby. And then I was about to get eye surgery. So normally we would schedule our voice lessons at the end of each lesson. We would schedule the one for the next month. So like we'd end and he'd be like, okay, can you do this date and this time? And I'd be like, yep. And then I just see him that time. And his schedule was jam-packed. So I think what happened was, like, I had my last lesson with him, and then I was like, okay, by the way, like, we shouldn't schedule our next one yet because I'm getting eye surgery and I don't know what my recovery is going to look like. So, like, can I just text you to plan our next lesson once I'm recovered? And he was like, yep, totally. And I feel like, well, and I'm not really defending him, like, because that still isn't an excuse, because, like, why can't you text me back to plan a time? But, like, I do kind of feel like maybe I should have just, like, planned a time with him, whatever. Anyway, so I wasn't on his schedule and it was impossible to get back on it. So I would text him and be like, hey, all healed from surgery. Like, what times do you have available next month? No response. I'd text him again and be like, hey, like, still would love for you to be my voice teacher. Whatever. No response. The craziest thing was he eventually, like, finally was able, he was like, hi, like, can you do this Friday at 1 p.m.? Like, something like that. And I was like, yes, I can. Perfect. So I literally travel all the way to the Upper West Side from Brooklyn. It took me an hour to get there. I get there, I go in, I knock on the door. I knew something weird was happening because I literally hear him go up to the door and look in the little peephole. And then, like, he starts, like, shuffling around and no one answers the door. And I was like, something weird is about to happen. He opens the door and he goes, I'm so sorry. I double booked you. I have to take, like, this other person. Someone else walks up the stairs and goes in. And he was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I was like, oh, like, it's okay. And then I tried to plan again and he never texted me back.
That sucks.
I was like, did I do something wrong? Or is it just because he had a baby and was really stressed and overwhelmed and couldn't get his life together?
He seemed like he must have been scattered in some way.
Yeah.
Maybe he just felt really embarrassed or something.
Honestly, maybe. Wait, I'm going to look. He texted me right after I left that lesson that I didn't even end up having because he was like, I double booked you. He said, let me know what time works and I'll figure something out. And then I said, I don't have my schedule with me right now. I'll let you know tomorrow. Maybe he's just someone who needs to know right then and there. But the next day I texted him and I was like, blah, 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 blah. Here are the times I'm free. He said, let me see what I can do that fits those times this week. And I'll definitely figure out some kind of discount for you. And then I said, okay, thank you. Never responded. And then the next day I said, any idea of a time? That was September 19th, 2023. Haven't talked to him since. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
That is so crazy. Yeah, he was literally going to give me a discount on my next lesson. So now I have a new voice teacher. And he's honestly so awesome and nice. So great. I mean, my old one was a great voice teacher too, but, like, what the fuck?
So weird.
It was so weird.
And unprofessional.
And so unprofessional. Like, what? It was crazy. Yeah, not me being ghosted by a teacher.
I know.
People get ghosted by therapists sometimes too.
Oh my, that is like, I thought it was the other way around. People ghost their therapists.
That's probably actually so common.
That's probably so common.
We did some light research on, you've probably researched ghosting more than I have. Mm-hmm. But, like, we were like, why do people ghost? And I guess it's a mix of just being avoidant and not wanting to be vulnerable or not wanting to have the hard conversations or, like, but then it ends up being just so much worse for the other person. Like, well,
sorry.
It is so much easier to move on. Like, if, for example, my ex-friend, I suppose, who ghosted me would have just been like, hey, you did this thing. I don't want to be friends anymore. Then I would be like, okay, I know. But what's so shitty about ghosting is, one, it's just the heartbreak of not having that person in your life anymore. But two, just being so confused.
Yeah.
It's like, what did I do something wrong? Are they okay? Like, what
exactly?
What the freak
and then just
happened?
Like not knowing whether or not you're going to hear from them, kind of like holding out hope for a while, and then like it slowly fading.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly selfish because avoidance or people who ghost do it to protect their own feelings because they have some sort of complex emotion that they don't want to face, and or they just don't want to like have a hard conversation, and so they think they're like protecting themselves from like having to deal with that. But in doing that, they're completely abandoning someone that, you know, I mean, in the more like serious senses, that, you know, you supposedly cared about, and someone who most likely really cared about you.
Yeah.
And it's it's just horrible for the other person. And then down the line, it's really bad for them too.
Yeah.
Because, when you avoid your issues, they come out in some way. Like
They do.
You can never fully avoid your emotions.
No, you're just like pushing them down even further. And one day it either explodes or you just like constantly have them.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, oh my gosh, I hate that I talk about him in so many sods, but Frank Moot. Frank Moot is such a recurring character.
Yes.
I'll never forget, he never ghosted me, but he is very, like, one of the most avoidant people I've dated. And he knows that. He's like, I'm avoidant. And I'm like, I know. But I remember he told me once, he was like, you just sit in this spot in my brain that's constantly sad. Like, he was like, I'm just like, you're always in the back of my brain as someone that I remember and am sad about. I'm like, that's so,
Yep.
like, maybe I wouldn't be if you had like dated me or gotten your shit together or
at
like
least,
gone to therapy or
ended things on good terms or communicated.
I get it. Like we all have little things. I'm sure I have things in my brain too where I'm like, wow, that makes me sad or whatever. But like when it's your own doing, when you could have just like figured the problem out, it's kind of like it didn't have to be that way. Like some things are out of your control, but some things are. And why would you not take control of that? Like, I don't have to be this little sad part in your brain every day for the rest of your life.
I feel like sometimes people dig themselves deep into a hole too, where it's just like you avoid, and then how are you gonna? I don't know.
I'm getting more wine.
I was ghosted by like a student, a parent of a student I was teaching. Like I would show up to their apartment to give lessons, and they would progressively get more and more like wishy-washy. Like sometimes they just like wouldn't be there, and I'd be like, okay, well, I'm here.
It's so
and
weird.
Then one day she just stopped showing up and then stopped responding to me, which obviously doesn't hurt me emotionally, but it's just like, why do people do that?
I don't know. People really ghost nowadays, though. I feel like maybe it's easier because we're on our phones so much. Like we live on our freaking phones. So it's just easier for people to hide behind a screen and not text back or whatever. Like
I guess.
a part of me, I remember in college, I was like debating, or after I had just graduated, because I lived in Greensboro, which is 30 minutes outside of Elon, where we went to school for like the next year and a half. So I was only living half an hour away from him after like he had already ghosted me. And there were a few times that I was like, do I drive to Elon and knock on his apartment? And I'm glad I didn't, but also like that would have been so valid for me to be like, hey, like, can we talk?
Yeah.
Like, what did I do? And I remember his ex-girlfriend too, like complaining to me and being like, yep, if you ever want to talk to him about anything like emotional, you have to actually find him and hunt him down and tell him in person. Because like if you text him being like, hey, can we talk about this? My feelings are hurt, blah, blah, blah. He won't respond.
That is so weird, but he'll talk about it in person?
Maybe like because he feels forced to, I guess. Not like he wants to, but like you have to literally be like, hey, we're talking about this thing.
That is so, at the end of the day, it's like the people who do this, it's fully about them. It has nothing to do with you.
Totally.
Unless you're abusive and like,
True.
The person feels unsafe and like just needs to disengage with you. But yeah, it's fully about them. And the people who do that probably have issues in so many other areas of their lives too. Like, yeah. And also probably do it to, you're probably like, it's probably not the only time they've ghosted someone or avoided conversations.
No.
And I don't know. It's just so weird. I don't think I'll ever fully understand because I can't, like, I guess like I can look into it and see and read why people do it, but I will never empathize with it because I just... Like, I can't understand it on that kind of level. Yeah. Because I don't function that way. And I'm not saying that in a way of like, I'm better or I'm like, superior, like above that. I mean, like, I'm not even saying it in that way. It's like, I could never do that. I guess I just don't have that attachment style. Like,
No, I always try to, even if I've just gone on one date with someone, unless like we mutually ghost, like, which sometimes you go on a date with someone and you don't text them and then they don't text you, and it's just kind of like, but if I like, there have been a couple of times when I've gone on a first date and just not been interested, and then they like text me trying to plan a second date, and instead of ghosting, I always try to be like, hey, like, I'm not interested in anything romantic. Like, I didn't feel the spark, but like, I wish you the best.
It's not that hard to do.
It's not. Then you're not left wondering.
Yeah. If you met someone, I mean, come on. Like, you guys went on a date and you like spent time with this person, like, just send them a message.
Yeah, seriously.
But then especially if you actually have a relationship with the person, like, that's a whole nother level.
That's so
what
crazy.
we talked about today.
So yeah. Also,
that's that.
The guy that I was talking about that I ghosted a while ago, who was like my manager at the restaurant I worked in high school, who I dated, who was like my therapist told me to ghost him. He sucked. I remember one time, like, before he became like scary to me, he told me that his girlfriend of 5 years ghosted him. So I'm kind of like, and then that made me feel bad for ghosting him. But then another part of me was like, I remember even my therapist was like, do you think maybe it was for a reason? Like, why do you think?
I mean,
like, I don't know, just kind of weird. Like,
crazy.
And then I ghosted. I just like didn't say anything. I blocked him on everything one day, and then I was like, never again. Plus, he wasn't my boyfriend. Like, we weren't in a committed relationship. We were in a weird fling thing, and it was just gross and ugh. He's the worst.
Yeah.
Hope he's doing well though. Okay. For our listener write-ins, should we do this one?
I guess, yeah.
Okay, the question is, do you guys ever argue?
Not argue. No, we don't argue.
No. We've only argued like a couple of times in our many years of friendship.
Would you even call it arguing though?
No, I guess not. Because our little weird thing in Italy, like, that wasn't an argument.
No, like, we've had tiffs, as we like to call them. Not even though. Just like things where we have to be like, hey, like maybe like little confrontations.
Yeah.
That are so minuscule.
Yeah.
But like arguing, no.
No, we really don't. That's like such an annoying answer. It sounds like we're lying too. I mean, obviously, like, we live together and we do a lot of things together. So like, we're not perfect. I'm much messier than Pete. Like, you know, that's not always ideal for Pete.
Any confrontation thing, I feel like, has had to do with like, well, it's kind of had to do with living with each other.
Yeah.
Not even so much our friendship, you know?
Yeah. Or
just like roommate things, when I have to be like, I won't put this in, but when I was like, can you do your dishes? But like, that's...
No, you can put that in. It's fine.
Like, when I was like, hey, I need to be able to use the kitchen sink. Will you do some of your dishes? But like, that's literally it. Like, as far as arguing,
no.
Like, actually having arguments, no. I feel like we have a very healthy relationship.
I think we're good about being in bad moods around each other too, where it doesn't like, because we're bound to be in moods sometimes. But normally, if I'm in a bad mood, I want to talk to you about it. And it has nothing to do with you. Like, when I came home from work today, like, I had such a bad day, and you were just like, how are you? And I was like, not good. Then I just like talk about it. But if we either of us are ever in a mood when we're actually like, I'm not in the mood for social interaction, neither of us, like, we don't snap at each other, or like, we'll just like, I don't know. Like, we don't really argue. No.
I think we're both pretty chill.
We are both pretty chill.
But also just good communicators. So,
yeah.
Nothing ever gets to a point where it's like, it needs to snap.
I don't really have people in my life that I argue with, I feel like.
Yeah, I guess like we're talking about our relationship, but I rarely ever have conflict with people anymore.
No.
I feel like I just...
Ironically, I am today.
True.
But it's okay. Honestly, though, like, a part of me, I had a friend confront me about something today. I will, like, talk about this. I've been, like, so... If anyone has advice for this, you know who needs advice from someone? Me. How can I freaking be a girl who's like pursuing one career while she's also having to go to work to make money and also take care of myself and also be a good friend? Like, life feels so overwhelming. And I say this also like knowing there's so many worse things happening in the world. And here I am in my comfy bed with my podcast equipment and next to my best friends. Like, life is really actually good. But I feel like I've been slacking in the friendship department recently, which is not like me. Like, I love my friends. I feel like one of my best traits is that I'm normally a really good friend. But I feel like the past few months, I haven't been a like mean, bad, like shit talking friend, but just like not, I don't know. I'm like not texting back, whatever. Anyway, so I had someone call me out on it today, which is so valid. The text did not make me mad. It made me anxious and sad because I'm like, but not because of them, but because I'm like, freak. Well, not me being the ghoster.
Yeah.
Like, it made me feel really bad. Why was I talking about this?
Because we were talking, I was saying how I don't really ever have conflicts with people.
Oh. Anyways, but this doesn't even feel like conflict because luckily this friend was like, I care about our friendship, so I want to talk about it and like figure it out. So like, it's okay. Like, I had my moment of sadness, anxiety, but then I was like, I'm just going to like be a better friend. And then that'll be what happens.
Yeah.
Like, that's my only option because I love and care about this friend a lot. And yeah, life is just hard. Being an adult is weird. Navigating friendships when you're an adult is weird. I'm like, I am so stressed out about work-life balance always and how like everything just feels exhausting.
I know. Yeah, it is really hard to balance everything, and especially relationships as an adult because you're not in like as close proximity to people, and so that means you like have to
like put in the
schedule
effort
it into your day or your week, and it's just sometimes it's really hard to do that. And like one social interaction a week can feel like a lot sometimes. Like getting lunch with someone, it's just like, I don't know. We don't have a lot of free time.
No.
And, I don't look at all my open time as free time because I'm like, some of that has to go to like myself.
Mm-hmm.
So just rationing it all is very tricky sometimes.
I got lunch with a friend today that I was putting things off with literally for like 2 months. And actually when I was at lunch with them, that's when I received this text calling me out on my bullshit, honestly. Like, and I said it, I was like, oh no, like one of my best friends just texted me this, like, fuck, I feel like a terrible person. And then I told the person I was eating lunch with, I was like, I feel like I'm doing this with all of my friends right now. Like, and some friends take it personally and others don't. And that's so valid. And like, for example, when I called Pete today and I was like, do I suck? And you were like, no, but I live with you. So I see all of the things you're going through and I get to see you every day. But like, maybe from an outside perspective, if you're not communicating like, hey, I'm so busy and stressed and overwhelmed, it does seem like you're just like not caring about the friendship when that's not the case.
Definitely.
But anyways, I talked to this friend and I was like, I'm sorry I fucking did this with lunch too. And they were like, I hope like it's really fine. And like, I get that life is really busy and stressful. And here we are at lunch now. And I was like, thank you. But like, it's so valid. I've also been on the other end and been so upset and irritated when friends like aren't texting me back.
Yeah. Yeah. I think just because what we were saying earlier, like I've also been on the other end of it and it is really upsetting because you don't have any insight into like why this person isn't responding or like being there for you. So even if like you feel like you can't give that person what they want at the moment, it's always better to just be like, hey, I really want to like find a time. I really want to see you or talk to you or like be intentional about catching up or spending time with you. But I am so overwhelmed. Like, this is what's happening. I'm not trying to be wishy-washy, but like, I'm just going through so much. There's never a situation where it's, not better to just be transparent.
That's true. It's just hard. Like being a people pleaser, man, it has the opposite effect. It's like, instead of being upfront and honest and being like, hey, I'm drowning, let's talk in a month. I'm like, okay, yeah, like, I'm really busy, but I'm sure I can try to find a time to FaceTime this weekend. Knowing in my brain, I'm like, having to carve out time to FaceTime someone right now is going to stress me out because I have so much shit I have to get done. Or maybe that's a problem and I shouldn't have to do so much shit and should have also make time for myself to have a social life.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's all a balance. Like,
it's so
I feel like
hard.
The confrontation is an opportunity to like be like, okay, what needs to change?
I do feel that. I'm like,
because clearly you feel it, like you are overwhelmed. And it's like, okay.
The text didn't surprise me either. Like, she texted me that and I was like, yeah, I've been a bad friend. Yeah. Not like a shit talking, like, mean friend, but just like, she's really been trying to catch up with me and I've just been like, we will. And then like never responding or following up.
Yeah.
And that's really shitty of me.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, it's
whatever.
It's
well, not
hard.
whatever, but
it's just, you're drowning in your own stuff. So you're not thinking about how it's affecting someone else. And then you also don't know that they're upset about it until you're communicated with, you know? So
like, I thought it was like annoying, but when she was like, it's hurting my feelings, I was like, wait. And I take pride in how good of a friend I am normally. So
this is, it's telling that something's off in your life when you're balanced.
That's true.
Of all of your cups, as Tara was saying, of, you know, all of your different things in life. And you need to figure out where that imbalance is and fix it.
Yeah. Wow. I don't remember why we started talking about this, but life is crazy, y'all.
Yeah, life is crazy.
Should we talk about our take home?
Yeah, let's do our take home, y'all. I don't even know what the take home is today.
The take home is
ghosters suck.
Yes. One, ghosters suck. Two, if you're someone who's a ghoster, maybe think about why. Ponder why you're a little ghosty ghoster. Think like, could I have just communicated with that person? Why did I not want to communicate with him? Not me like being your therapist right now. But yeah, take home is ghosting. If you get ghosted, chances are it has nothing to do with you. Maybe it does. But even if it is because that person decided they don't like you anymore, like that's still not
you.
You problem. That's
not anything you did.
Yeah. And especially if you get ghosted and you're texting them like, hey, can we talk about what happened? And they're still not responding. That's extra crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, you know, if you're being ghosted, definitely don't engage anymore. You know, say your piece. If they don't respond, then don't ever expect a response. You know, like, don't reach out again. Don't expect a response. You have to find the closure within yourself, which is extremely hard to do.
It's so hard.
Yeah, you'll figure it out, but it's never about you.
No, it's not.
And just always know, if you can find it within yourself to have compassion. I'm not making excuses for people who do this, but it's helped me to like look at it through a lens of they have issues.
Yeah.
And that sucks for them. Like, that's sad for them. And
yeah,
it's not about me. It's like they have issues. And was it right? Does it make it right? No. But if you can look at everything from the perspective of like why people act the way they do, it's because they've been hurt or were not given the tools, you know, in their childhood or when they were young to know how to show their emotions, sit with their emotions, communicate. It's not an excuse, but
life.
Yeah, life.
This episode felt a little depressing. But like,
I mean, there are like interesting stories.
They are interesting stories. And also, we're just being authentic.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be spooky.
True. And it's supposed to be spooky. So us being in bad moods well, you're not in a bad mood. I'm in a bad mood. So maybe that's like kind of spooky, scary, like bad mood.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
anyways.
follow us at Take It Home Pod on all the platforms: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe in the podcast platform so we show up in your little feed every Thursday. We release a new episode every Thursday.
And give us 5 stars. And
Yes.
if you didn't like us, no need to rate us at all.
No, don't even worry about it. If you know someone who'd like this podcast, this episode, a previous episode, send it to them.
Send it to them.
What else do I say? Oh, if you have a question for a listener write-in or an episode topic idea, DM us.
Yeah, we would like some episode topic ideas as well.
Yeah. Well, goodbye.
Bye. Bye.